And we are live with my good friend Cameron Bagrie, who I've introduced to you all before. He's basically one of the best economists in New Zealand, always manages to predict things. So thanks, Cam. I just saw him on Facebook and I thought, I might just reach out to him and see if he wants to have a brief chat before the night's finished. So what do you think, mate? What's going to happen? Do you think that they in the economy they talk about when it comes to recovery a V, a U, or an L? And do you know how I know that?
No. Someone pretty clever just told you about them.
Yeah, that's it. So can you explain to us what those terms actually mean and how you're sort of seeing things pan out?
Right. So if we go back and have a look at the GFC, for example, that was called a classic V-shaped cycle. You know, we went down pretty hard. Yeah, interest rates got cut aggressively. The government spent a lot of money, and we came out really aggressively on the other side. And it was basically back to business as usual reasonably quickly. Now both recessions we see around the globe or locally do tend to be of the V variety. But of course, you know, there's some pretty big assumptions you need to make, you know, to get back on that sort of V trajectory. You know, and one of the big assumptions is that you don't expect to see too much structural change. Your life sort of goes on as pre the recession. You know, we're back into it pretty quickly. You know, I guess if I have a look at COVID, yeah, do I think COVID is going to be a V? The answer is no. It's going to be a little bit more protracted. And that's what a U or a potentially an L-shaped cycle depict. You know, glass half full. When people start going back to work, and we've gone from level 4 to 3+, so we're starting to turn on a few more lights in the house. You know, not all the lights are on, but we've been allowed to turn on another bedroom light. But most of the house is still closed in darkness, so she's still pretty tough out there. But when we go down to level 2, level 1, yeah, the economy is going to start to move again. Yeah, but I think we just need to sit back and think about the bigger picture. Is life going to go back to the way it was pre-COVID? The answer is hell no. Yeah, there's going to be massive structural changes, adjustments out of this on the other side. Yeah, so what does that mean? The recovery is going to be a lot more protracted. It's going to take a little bit longer. Now, you think about the international tourism sector. Yeah, how long is it going to be before we see the international tourism market back like it was in 2019? And the answer is year after year after year. Yeah, we're probably talking 6, 7, maybe even 8 years. Yeah, so for that sector, yeah, the recovery is going to be an L. Yeah, there is not going to be a recovery for a very long time. Yeah, some other sectors will have characteristics a little bit more like a V. You know, getting back into it pretty quickly. Yeah, but for the economy as a whole, you know, it's a U or an L.
Yeah. How about what's your thoughts? And I know I asked you this last time. How do you reckon the Americans are going? You know, a big, massive economy. Trump obviously wanting to, you know, he's sort of contradicting himself a lot, actually. He's putting down all the rules, but then he's telling people to liberate and get back into the workforce. So, like, what's your predictions there with that economy? Are they in a mess? Are they in trouble?
You know, I think there were a few warning signs pre-COVID about the American economy. Yeah.
Oh, really?
The American economy is very, very divided. Yeah, you got a very, well, let's just say, interesting character at the top. We live in a world that's very divided as opposed to united. If I just do a quick comparison, like if you ever look at in New Zealand, we've locked things down for a month.
Yeah.
Now, generally speaking, we've played pretty nice. We've abided by the rules. Yeah, society's sort of been with the program, but the longer you go on lockdown, the more you're going to start to see society push back. Yeah, so you start to see the social fabric start to break down. Have we seen that in New Zealand at the moment? The answer is no. You know, Could we see it in a month if we're still at a 3+? The answer is yes. But what we are seeing in America pretty clearly at the moment is that people are pushing back.
Yeah.
They're not playing nice at all. So we're starting to see that real tension already in some jurisdictions around the globe between the reality of trying to get on top of this pandemic versus the economic cost on the other side. And we've been through a big battle over the past sort of few years, the young versus old, and housing has been at the epicenter of that battle. Well, at the epicenter of that battle now is going to be jobs. And people are losing their livelihoods. How long it is going to be before that younger generation just sort of says, look, I've had enough of this. And we're starting to see that sort of attitude percolate in some countries around the globe, such as America.
So that must surely, I'm not an economist, obviously, that must have an effect on house prices, surely, in New Zealand. It's got to.
Yeah, so look, the housing market in New Zealand is going to be very weak for the next 2 years. I think house prices are going to fall more than 10%.
Yeah, you said that. You said that last time we chatted, maybe 50%, 15%.
Now, we're trying to get everything to soften the blow. So the Reserve Bank has just come out and said it looks like they're going to loosen loan-to-value ratio restrictions. Is that going to help? Yes, at the margin. But the bigger picture for the housing market is just going to be about people in paid work, jobs, the unemployment rate.
Give me a rating for Grant Robertson on how he's handled things so far.
In regard to crisis management, I think the government response has been an A. They've been really good in regard to what needed to have been done has been done. Now, to be fair, some of the stuff has been as, I guess, loose as a goose as well. And we're now starting to see all these stories about firms getting out there that have been taking the wage subsidy scheme. And you're like, well, legally they're probably entitled to it, but morally should be taking that taxpayer money. The answer is no. So they'll get judged in the court of public opinion in regard to that sort of thing, and rightly so, in regard to what businesses we will decide to support going forward in regard to our buying trends. The real issue I've got with the government is that what is the economy going to look like on the other side? What's the economic plan? What's the vision?
You on that, Cam? Tell us. What do you think?
Oh, I think they're going to have to park a fair bit of their political ideology. We're going to have some real big blue sky thinking in regard to how we're going to get the New Zealand economy back on track. We're going to be partially back on track as we open things up progressively over time, but an awful lot of businesses are not going to survive. The tourism sector is a $17 billion export earner. Where's the replacement growth going to come out of that? So there's 3 stages here that we need to think about. Stage 1 is crisis management. We're basically towards the end of that. Now we're starting to think about recovery because we've gone from a stage 4 down to a 3+. Hopefully we're not in 3+ for too long. We get down to a 3, get down to a 2. So more of the economy starts to open up. But there's going to be massive structural changes out of this on the other side. And we're going to need a pretty clear economic vision and plan in regard to how we're going to embrace, a fundamentally different New Zealand economy going forward. We're going to have an economic imperative. We need to get people back into paid work. If I have a look at where the unemployment rate is going to be, it's going to be double digit. The unemployment rate for Maori Pacific Island is typically double the rate of the national average. So you could see an unemployment rate for Maori in excess of 20%. Now, that's not just an economic problem, that is a social crisis.
So the sector that will experience the most unemployment would be tourism, correct? Surely.
Yeah, so if you look at the tourism sector, the tourism sector directly employs about 225,000 New Zealanders. If you include indirect, stuff associated with tourism, it's about 400,000 people. Now that is a big, major, chunk of your economy that's tied up in that sector. And that's just one sector. Now you think about education. Education, foreign students, is our 5th largest export market. Although those numbers are not going to be here.
So where do you think the opportunity is? Can you see that already? On the other side of this, on areas that we should be concentrating on? Because obviously
the one that's really apparent is that, look, New Zealand has taken a very harsh approach to effectively squash this thing. It's been a harsher approach than what's taken place in Australia in regard to what the lockdown looks like. But if we do manage to squash this thing, and then, of course, we've got to keep the damn thing up, you think about what the brand value proposition of that is for New Zealand on the global stage. You think about the people around the globe that suddenly might be pretty keen to come down and live in little old New Zealand. So I think we're going to need it. They'll have to go through quarantine. But you'd start to think about, there was a plan put out the other day. You should get them on, Troy Bowker. Talked about you're getting all these high net worth individuals. Bring them in. And normally we bring them in and they just buy an asset. No, we don't want them to come in and just buy an asset. We want their intellectual property. We want their business nows. We give them a visa contingent on you employing 10 to 20 New Zealanders. And by the way, you've got to pay them above the median wage. But we try to leverage on a very successful strategy we've had in regard to being one of the few countries that I think is going to actually squash this thing. Now the marketing brand perception value for that, not just in regard to attracting people, but selling our goods overseas, we can really accentuate, brand New Zealand in a positive sense.
I tell you what, that Jacinda Ardern, she's bloody good as far as helping us as a brand, I think. I mean, you just see all the number of stories overseas with, what she's doing. She's bloody good.
The crisis management stuff has been really good. It hasn't been perfect, but by and large, they've done what they needed to do. But the proof is going to be in the pudding in regard to whether they can deliver an economic plan on the other side and execute around it. And to be perfectly honest, execution in the past 3 years has not been their strong point. In fact, it's been a clear weak point.
Yeah, fair point. Hey, thanks for jumping on at very short notice. I just saw you on Facebook and I thought, geez, hopefully Cam might be up for a chat. You're always so generous with your time. So thanks very much, Cam.
No, mate, take care and look after yourself.
Yeah, talk to you soon.
Bye. See you, Jeff. Bye.